Want those? I wanted Upholding the Law. That's right. Area 200. Only lawful champions. Only lawful ones. Wait. The lawful ones? Oh, wow. That's like, we don't really have a lot of lawful ones, do we? There you go, Human. You got the front all to yourself. Wow, no one in slot 1. Okay, Celeste, Spurs. No one there, no one there. Let's go with Shara. DPS, I guess. DPS. Nope, no, we already got that. Nope. Darker, alright, this is our entire formation. This is our entire formation. That's, yeah. That's a thing. That's a thing. Yeah, potpourri, just in case the Dark Urge ends up being our DPS, which probably will. Definitely, ooh, you're definitely resisting the urge because we have no tanks. We have no tanks. Okay. This is a thing. I think maybe we go with the hour. We got 45 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. We got a chest off a drop. So we get 2 of them. Nope. And nope. And the worst potion. Game's like, screw you. Yeah. So you get the worst potion. We don't really have gold find on this run either. Just what we get from our favor. I mean, it's not even just new champs equals more mops. The reworks have been mops too. See you, Cal. Thanks for hanging out. Enjoy dinner. Okay, so this will be Upholding the Law. When we complete this, we'll only need 1 more. Yeah, then we'll be at 29 completed. We'll need 1 more, and then we can do Azaka's Procession Part 1. So tomorrow, we will do Cramped Quarters. And then we will do Azaka's Procession Part 1, and then Azaka's Procession Part 2. One's 275. Part 2, I think, is 300. Yeah. We should be able to get all that done tomorrow. I mean, ultimately, you'll end up with Does that work? Three. I don't think it's 77 now, is it, Delcoon? I think 78 is what it's going to end up being at max. I thought it was quite a bit less than that right now. Because the three that you'll always get are Dungeon Master, Dark Urge, and Gale. And then 25 a year to the two featured champions for 12 months, plus the one evergreen we'll get every year. So it should be 78. And I think right now it's like in the 50s or something. Well, Elminster can take those three champions I just mentioned in, and Dungeon Master can pull somebody along. And Wolfgar can always go to Icewind Dale, right? Can't he? To everything? And then Wolfgar can bring in everybody else? Isn't that... Hold on. Am I misremembering? We were just talking about this earlier. I'm going to have to get this stuff down for Saturday. Yeah. Wolfgar can be used in any Icewind Dale campaign, adventure, or variant, even if he would not normally be available. And then Morden's Will lets him bring all of the companions of the hall in. So yeah, even if there's some if the restricted variants are in Icewind Dale, it's not a problem because Wolfgar can go everywhere in Icewind Dale and bring his friends with him. Yeah, Nathless, look, I got Warduck the moment he came out, and I don't even use Warduck, so. Skin's just too good. Skin's just too good. Yeah, Venersa and Commodore Crux can all be... It's not as helpful, but it's better than nothing. Olcoria can always be used in Waterdeep. Well, the variant restrictions say nobody should then make it so that nobody can be used, but they can be. I mean, I'm just... I don't think it is 70. Hold on. I gotta go now. I'll go look at. Oh, hold on. No, it's not in the 70s right now, Delkin. The most recent 3 years would be 18 champions a year, 17 events, and 1 evergreen. And that's 54. And that would include Dungeon Master, Dark Urge, and Gale currently. Because they're all in the most recent 3 years. So the current Elminster pool is 54. Not counting these odd places where like you could pull Wolfgar in everywhere. Blah, blah, blah. But it's going to grow to 78. It's going to grow to a max of 78 over time. Spec shows the wrong number. I mean, look, I'm just telling you what the math says. The game, that doesn't mean the game does the right thing. Isn't being evil breaking the law? No. We were just talking about this, Nathalis. Um, Evil is selfishness. It has nothing to do with whether you're, obeying the law or not. If you're doing things that are selfish versus selflessness, that is what evil is. Evil is being selfish more often than being selfless. When you're balanced, if you're selfless and selfish on an even, that's neutral. So you can be selfish in following the law. You can be manipulating the laws in a selfish, self-serving way. I feel like I don't need to give you examples of this. I feel like examples are in our daily lives. Yeah. Lawful evil, it's a lawyer. Well, it's a defense lawyer. Well, no. Maybe. Maybe some defense lawyers. Maybe some defense lawyers. Certain politicians. Not all, but certain. Again, I'm not naming names because we're not getting into that, but billionaires, honestly, billionaires who write off all kinds of stuff, and I mean, they pay their employees a minimum wage. They're following the law, but they're being selfish. They're being incredibly selfish. That's a section of evil against them from that point. Like, if you think of this as how evil and good are determined, because it's not just about your actions. Your actions have to be spurred on by something. And what is the motivation for your actions? That's where evil versus good comes in. Yeah, corrupt lawyers who are just self-serving, trying to make money, and they don't care who they're defending. Lawful evil, right? But like public defenders who really aren't making much money at all, but are trying to help out people who can't afford to get help of their own. Probably more lawful good to lawful neutral, somewhere in there. Right? It all depends. You can't just blanket apply alignment to groups of people. Yeah, you could have a king or politician passing laws that are only to benefit them or their friends. Lawful evil. Lawful evil. But a politician who's trying to push laws that benefit the majority of the people, even if it doesn't benefit them personally, lawful good. Yeah, like Asmodeus and devils in general tend to follow contracts. Like, they tend to follow the word on the page. It doesn't mean that it's in your benefit. They're being lawful, but they're doing it for themselves. So they're lawful evil. I mean, an archfey is chaotic something. I don't know. No, archfays have laws that they have rules they have to follow. It's best to feel like they'd be lawful neutral. Oh, well, no, I think it probably goes back and forth a little bit. They're probably just pure neutral in my mind. They'd probably be, there's laws that they follow, but there's times when they'll tiptoe across it. So probably more in the neutral realm, because again, you could do good things and bad things. You could follow laws, occasionally break some here or there. They do break them on occasion. It's just, do they get caught? So yeah, probably neutral. Isn't neutral someone who follows their own laws and set of morals? No, not necessarily. Because you could have your own laws and set of morals that are about serving just yourself. That makes you selfish. That makes you evil. And yeah, like just like a set of laws isn't necessarily like creating your own set of laws could be all over the place. Your laws could just bounce around and contradict themselves, and then you'd be chaotic, right? But it's about like, but again, there's two sides. There's lawful and chaotic, and there's good and evil. You can be neutral on both. Again, are you doing things for yourself or for other people? Like, are being selfless or selfish, or are you wavering? Bouncing back in between those, or are you following a defined set of like societal rules? That's usually where it comes in. Society's rules. Now, you could be part of a evil society, but there is a set of rules that get followed, right? So societal rules versus just whatever you're feeling in the moment. That's more chaotic, right? And you go around different rankings on both sides. No, I feel like it covers most of the permutations. Again, it's a game; it's not life. But like if you think about it as selfishness versus selflessness, and then societal expectations, then you get pretty close. You just have to remember different societies have different expectations, right? And their alignment is most likely set for their society and not, well, yeah, their society, not everybody else's. Again, it's not morality. This isn't about morality. Get morality out of it. Stop bringing morality and morals and morality into this conversation. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about selflessness versus selfishness. Now, you can try to say that's morality, but morals are a quagmire. It's not the giggity kind. Yeah. Ad break. Why is it too confusing? It's literally just being selfless or selfish. Are you doing things for your own personal benefit and no one else's, or are you doing things for the betterment of groups or of or the majority or whatever? Like, is it, and not for yourself specifically? Again, you can have both. You can be a little selfish and a little, and that's when you're neutral, right? You're balancing out your scales, like if you think about it. Delkin, no, that's just subjective perception. That's a whole other thing. We're talking about We're talking about in a game determining someone's alignment based off whether they're selfless or selfish, and following the societal laws or not. People's perspectives. That's morals. That's morality. When you start trying to talk about subjective perspectives, that's pretty much why that's morality, and that's why I stay away from that. It's not a great. It's too subjective. It's too subjective. Morality isn't the laws, and morality isn't even the good versus evil. That's why I said when you start trying to bring morals in, then it becomes impossible because morality is subjective. But when you think about societal expectations versus and whether you're being selfless versus selfish, those are objectively defined. Those can be objectively defined. Yeah, nobody wants to participate in moral combat. Nobody wants that. That's why we know. That's why we can look at Penelope, and know that Penelope is good. She is as selfless a person as you can get, almost all the time. Again, won't say nobody's perfect. Almost all the time, selfless. Now, whether she follows society's expectations or not varies from moment to moment. So chaotic. But you know that regardless of whether she's trying to follow society's expectations, like their laws and rules and stuff, she's doing good. She's being selfless. She's doing things for other people because it's good. Because it's a good thing. Whereas Zorbo is just straight up murdering people out of revenge. He should not be good. This is the problem with trying to do this. Is some people just decide, well, they're good. No, they're not. Look at their actions. Look at their actions. Are they doing good things? Are they doing selfless or selfish things? Oh, I don't even want to get the player's handbook involved. Like, that's. I'm not talking about their definitions. I'm talking about Zorba feels morally justified, which is why we don't bring morals into this, because that's a subjective measurement, and then everything is based on perspective, and that doesn't help anyone when you're trying to figure out what someone's alignment actually is, outside, above the table, outside the game. Because everyone, even evil people, think they're the hero of their own story. They think they're good. They all think they're good people. They think they deserve everything, and that so what they're doing is right. Like, and it's not. True selflessness doesn't exist. I think it's well, of course, everything, Renee, everything. Here, I'm going to break your mind. Everything is a social construct. Everything about our interactions with other human beings is a social construct. Everything. Now, but whether those constructs are good or bad determines on do they exist? Do those social constructs exist to make your interactions with people better, or just to? Here we start talking about good versus evil. Do they help it to make your interactions with other people better, or are they just for the benefit of a few? Right, like like when people start talking about, like, well, speaking a certain way is the professional way to do things, or dressing a certain way, or looking a certain way is professional. This is a social construct that benefits a few. It's actually evil. It's actually evil. It's meant to keep a certain few in power. But yeah, I don't think D&D defines any of this correctly, and look, D&D says, hey, you make your own rules if you want. So this is the way I look at alignment and determining what alignment is. I don't even get into alignment when I have DM'd things. I don't tell people figure out your alignment. Because I don't care. We're gonna find out based off what you do in this story who you are. That's how it works. Like, yeah, the Punisher thinks they're a hero. They're not. Doesn't mean I don't sometimes root for them. That's they're called an anti-hero for the reason. They don't do good things. But they don't do it for themselves. There's the thing. They are chaotic. I wouldn't call them good. I wouldn't call them evil. They're probably chaotic neutral, in all honesty. Because they're not really doing. Like if you look at the one story, like the origin story, that's selfish. That's purely selfish. But then after that, they're trying to look out for other people and get rid of bad, but they're doing it the wrong way. They're mixing good and evil. They're coming out neutral. Lex Luthor is like lawful evil. Lex Luthor is one of the most selfish people. Well, in the versions of Lex Luthor, I don't know. I haven't read all the comic books, but it's all about himself. And he reacts to things about himself. He makes everything about himself. This is how you know someone's evil. They're selfish. Everything is about them. Narcissism, egotism. Like this is, you know, on the selfish axis. Well, again, I don't know all the stories about the Punisher. I know very limited stories about the Punisher, and then the things of the Punisher I have seen, he's most of the time he's doing good things, but he's not going to let people get in his way. Like I said, he's doing it the bad way. He's doing the selfless things. He's trying to do things for other people to improve their lives, but he's doing it the wrong way. You end up neutral. But again, that doesn't mean you're not killing people or torturing people. Again, this isn't about the action. This is what it's hard for people to get their head around. It's not about the actions, it's about the driving force behind the actions. Selfishness, selflessness. Some kind of mix of both. That's where you end up neutral. But again, we're not. Again, you're talking about I'm a killer, but that's an action. That's not the motivation for the act. Then we're talking about the motivations for the action. And that doesn't make you good. You can do bad. Again, this is he is not. I guess he's chaotic. He's not following society's expectations. That's the part of the axis he's flipping. He is rebelling against society's rules on how to deal with people who break the law. Batman is lawful good? No. No. I don't see Batman as lawful good. Ooh. So Batman isn't following the law. He's breaking it. But he has his own. This is where it gets weird because he has his own moral code. I would say he's fairly chaotic most of the time, and I would say he's neutral. And I would say he's neutral because I think he spends part of his time trying to do things for the betterment of others selflessly, but he goes about it in a very selfish way, and thus ends up in a neutral alignment for me. Because he has so much money and he could help by investing in the people of his city and helping to improve their lives. Doesn't spends all his money on himself and cool toys and wants to go out and do it all himself. Selfish, but trying to do good things. So neutral. So I think chaotic neutral. I would put Batman as chaotic neutral. In a game, how can you tell what is the driving force? if like as the dungeon master, you don't necessarily. That's why there's no reason to have. That's why modern D&D, I don't, like when I play D&D, I don't ask people their alignments. I don't care what their alignments are. It doesn't mean anything. There's no reason to have alignments anymore. All you need to do is try to determine what they're doing and why they're doing it. Usually it comes out in a backstory, right? Like when they talk about their characters start talking about, their backstory and conversations with other players, and you figure out where their motivation is coming from and why they're doing something. Batman is nothing like that. What are you talking about? You don't think Batman is what I just described? Because he's exactly what I just described. Comics suggest he does invest in the city? No. He invests a very small amount of his money. He owned Gotham. He didn't own the city? What? Look, you can billionaires, which is what Bruce Wayne is supposed to be. He's supposed to be a billionaire with more money than whatever. And he makes it off all kinds of things that are not necessarily great. But who knows, whatever. Let's just say, let's put where his money comes from aside. What does he do with all that money? He buys himself toys, fancy toys, weapons, and goes out and beats people. He may not kill people, but he'll willingly beat the crap out of anybody that he thinks is not doing what he thinks they should be doing, regardless of those people's motivation. He's not a good person. And if you have all that money and you spend all of that money, and you spend so much money, even if you're donating money to a city, philanthropy, which is a tax write-off for the rich, which is why most of them do it, not because they're good people, because it makes them money on their taxes. Like, do we know, does he give more money than his tax burden? We don't know. So, is he actually helping people? It doesn't ever look like it. And again, I've not read all of the comics, but I've seen a bunch of the movies, and nowhere in that is he being what I would call a selfless person. He's very selfishly trying to resolve. He just needs to go to therapy, and some of the comics he does, but he's being he's selfishly trying to solve his own problems, his own mental health issues by taking it out on other people. That's not a good person. That is not a good person. But again, have I read every single comic out there? No. But the general view of Batman is that he's just a rich guy who's buying himself toys and going out and beating people up. That's the overall perspective. Again, perspective. But when we do see things in these movies about his motivations, it's tied up in those things, and we don't see him doing outrageous amounts of stuff. There's lots of rich people that are philanthropists. They give out a lot of money, not because they want to, because they get tax write-offs. Corporations, I see it all the time. We're the largest donor in our industry for this, blah, blah, blah. And it's an advertisement. It's like, well, you made those donations, A, because you get a tax write-off, and B, because then you can use it in your marketing. That doesn't make you a good company. I don't read comics, Larkin Rider. Can't afford them. All you get is the films, which is what most people get to interact with, because most people can't afford to buy the comics. We've had this conversation before. I'm telling you what I've seen. Based off what I've seen, this is... If I were playing a game, and I've played the Batman games, when I'm playing these games, and nowhere along here am I going, oh, this is a good person. This is a lawful good person. No, they're chaotic, and at best, they're neutral. spends his fortune on disaster relief globally. But how much of that is a tax write-off? This is what we don't know. Again, like, how rich is he? How rich is he? They make him out like he's like one of the wealthiest people on the planet, which means you could do all that and still be, he's feeding his ego a lot with a lot of that, right? So I don't know. I would say the modern stuff. I can't stand Batfleck. He's like the worst version, in my opinion.